everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the official Elder Scrolls cookbook. I was a lot happier with the meatballs in the Companion's Meatball Bake last week than I was, trying to kill a fly here, than I was with the potatoes. So we're on to the dessert this week and the last recipe for the month, the apple cobbler. First up, let's tell the story. That the gnarled and twisted trees in Skyrim's orchard still produce such bounties of fruits is nothing short of a marvel. Their round green and red apples are sold and stored all over the region, making their way into various desserts and drinks or eaten as raw as a quick, healthy snack. Well, I definitely have my share of raw apples, but we are going to be using raw apples, hence the recipe apple cobbler. Anyway, the ingredients are waiting for us over at the table, so let's move in that direction. You'll probably hear the oven chirping in the background. I've already preheated it to 375, and it's actually going to be quite busy in the kitchen when we get in there. So we're going for a two-part split, as you might be able to see by the rough line down here. Anyway, to make the filling, we need 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of Nord spices, and 5 or 6 medium Honeycrisp apples, peeled, cored, and sliced into wedges. Now, I'm not going to do the Nord spices again. If you want to see how that's made, go check out the recipe before I made the stewed apples and Idar cheese at the start of the month, where that'll have the Nord spices in there. As for the toppings, we need 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, a cup of rolled oats, half a cup of granulated sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I forgot to pull it out, but we also need a cup of buttermilk. So let's move into the kitchen now and start putting this recipe together. The oven's already at 375, as I mentioned. I'm working on the rest of my food prep for the week. I do have my eggs that I make for breakfast for the week. Those are going on the stove since we didn't need the stove. Anyway, we're going to start by making the filling. So we're going to start off by mixing the brown sugar, which I've got right here. Three-quarters of a cup of this. There we are. We'll put that, we can put that back up. Then we need the 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I've got my 2 tablespoon measuring spoon right here. Okay. That can go back up as well. And we need 2 teaspoons of the Nord spices. Like I said, I'm not going to show you how to make this again. You can go look up the recipe when I did the stewed apples and Idar cheese for how we did that. And actually, I think we're just going to pour the rest of this in. Might be a little bit more than 2 teaspoons in there, but it'll get us close enough to approximate. So now we'll mix this up. Admittedly, that's the one thing I don't completely like about some of these cookbooks is when they have these specialized spices that you need to compile. I mean, it's not necessarily an inherently bad thing. It's just, it can be a little bit annoying. It's more than anything, it's kind of something to be aware of. I'm trying to break up some of these clumps of the sugar. Okay. And I think that's as much of that as we're going to get. So now we're going to bring the spices out of the way for the time being. Next thing we need is we need a 9x13 pan and shot, which, since I'm baking, just out of force of habit, I'm going to spray it just to make cleanup a little easier. Okay. So there's the pan as it's been sprayed. Now we're going to put the apples as we've sliced them in here. Okay. Then we're going to sprinkle the sugar mixture on top. So I've got the sugar mixture that we just mixed up right over here. We'll stir that up a bit just to make sure the apples get completely coated. Okay. All right, I think that's trying to get some more of the apples into some of these big clumps of spices. Okay. We'll give them a nice even spread over the baking dish. I think that'll do. We'll put those aside. And next we're going to bring the stuff in shot that we need to work on the topping. Now while everything continues to churn in the kitchen, we're going to make the topping as we put the apples aside. We're going to start off by combining our flour. Actually, I'm going to use a different measuring cup than that. I'm going to get one of my Pyrex cups out. So we need 1.5 cups of flour. I'm also going to pour this over at the sink. Okay. There's our 1.5 cups of flour. Let's see if I can knock a little bit of that back out. That'll do. 1 cup of rolled oats, which I've got those right here. Oh, almost sent them flying. Let's not do that, Phoenix. That would be problematic. Okay, hold on just a second. I just had my egg timer go off, so we'll be right back while I deal with the eggs. Eggs dealt with, back to sweet treats now. So we just put the oats in. Next up, we need the granulated sugar. So I've got that right here. 1/2 cup of the granulated sugar. I don't think we need the 1/2 cup again for anything. No. So that can go back up, as can the flour. Okay, now we want the tablespoon of baking powder, which I've got my baking powder right here. Don't need the tablespoon for anything? No. Teaspoon of salt. And I think that's all we need for now. So we'll give this a small mix-up. Then I'm going to bring in the butter. I'm going to do that about a tablespoon at a time until the whole mixture looks crumbly. So I've sliced the butter up here into tablespoon chunks. Oop. I think I got a little bit of the paper in there. Yep. Okay. So now we'll start mixing that up. And I forgot to mute the speaker in my computer again. Okay. We'll get another tablespoon chunk in here without the paper, preferably. There we are. Break it up just a little bit. Another tablespoon. Make sure we get all the paper off. Okay. And this will be the last tablespoon of the butter. There we are. Okay. All right, now I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. And I'm going to make this next step a little bit easier on myself by switching out the measuring cup that I was going to use. I'm going to grab another Pyrex container, another Pyrex measuring cup for this, because I want to add the cup of buttermilk. I want to add the buttermilk gradually to this until we get a, what are we looking for? We're looking for a thick batter with no dry spots. I did give it a good shake. So now we're going to open this, flashing back to the elementary days, the elementary school days of cartons of milk in snack break. God, that was a lot of years ago. God, you can tell it's been a lot of years because let's see if I can if I have any better luck from the back. There we go. You can tell it's been a lot of years because I was having a lot of trouble getting that open. So now we're going to pour this out. Remembering to read the meniscus because that's a thing they taught in my high school chemistry classes. I got a little bit more than a cup, but it'll probably be fine. I'm going to dump the buttermilk because I'm not going to use it for anything else. So now we're going to add this gradually and mix it in. There's a little bit of the buttermilk going in. We'll mix it in. More of the buttermilk. And mix it in. More of the buttermilk. Whoops. Buttermilk. Son of a... And the last of the buttermilk. I'll actually grab a spatula so I can scrape what I can of the rest of the buttermilk out. Okay. Get my hands a quick wash again. And we'll finish mixing up the batter. Okay. I think that is about where we wanted to be. We'll scrape a little bit of the batter off here. Perfect. So now that we're all set there, now let's bring the apples back in shot. Now we're going to drop dollops of the dough on the apples. Dollops of the topping on the filling. Doesn't need to be precise. Just needs to all get on the apples. Which this isn't going to take too long, although you guys are probably smart enough that you don't need my help with drop dollops of the dough on the apple mixture. Still, because I'm expecting it to be fairly quick, we're going to go ahead and walk and do it all on camera. I think we can probably get one more nice sized dollop out of here. Okay, we're all set there. So now I'm going to put this in the oven, moving the camera out of the way so I can get into the oven. Without burning my hand. There we go. We'll put that in. Knowing my oven, I'm going to give it 45 minutes. The goal here is to make sure the tops are turning golden and the dough is cooked through. We also want to give that about 10 minutes to cool, so we'll come back after it's had some time to cool as well. Here's our first look at the apple cobbler as it's had some time to cool. Still very much warm, but very welcome for what should be a cozy fall day, even if the air conditioners you might be hearing in the background are evidence of it being a little bit warmer than I was expecting it to be. Anyway, the cookbook, the recipe does suggest that this will pair well with vanilla ice cream, and I picked some of that up when I was grocery shopping yesterday. So, we're going to move some of this into a bowl with some vanilla ice cream, and then we're going to move over to my desk for the taste test. I've got some of the apple cobbler right here. Now, this was hard. The ice cream that I got with it was hard as a rock to move. So I don't know if I'm going to be using that again. But let's take a taste of this and see what I think of it. So I got a little bit of steam coming off of it. Maybe we can get some of the apple in here too. Yes, we can. Without the ice cream, I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Now let's see what I think of it with the ice cream. Even out of the dish, it's hard to move. It might just be the brand of ice cream, but I think for the brand I got, I'm going to skip the ice cream for this one, but I'm very happy with how this cobbler turned out. It definitely feels like it's got that coziness that I like in a dish like this for fall. Anyway, that's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week we'll be starting something new, but I'll have more on that during Pinot with Phoenix on Tuesday. Before that though, today we're headed over to the SAP Center in San Jose, California for Game 5 of the 2009-10 Stanley Cup Final between the New Jersey Devils and the San Jose Sharks. That series is tied at 2. Somebody will have a chance to lift the Stanley Cup tomorrow during Game 6. Before Game 6, tomorrow morning, we'll be continuing the fall campaign of B-17 Flying Fortress Leader by DVG. Wednesday, we're going to be playing America Bomber Evil Queen of the Skies by Compass Games. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.